When Conquest was originally added, I was a huge fan of the mode. Of course, I featured land battles with caps back when it was just a mod quite a bit on the channel back in the day. And definitely, I always thought that this was the solution, like sort of the ideal Venn diagram that would capture the most players, as far as having a game mode with some structure that doesn't have sort of the cheese aspects of land battle, where you have just a single capture point that would allow you to still basically have a land battle without any reinforcements, summoning, or some of the other domination mechanics. Today we're going to take a look at a Conquest game that is basically a land battle, but then the Conquest will come in to factor in, and we'll talk more about that when it happens. But for now, let's get into the builds. We've already got some Vanguard action underway here. This replay from Wicked. We've got some Dark Riders shields and the Doomfire Warlocks as well. We've got some Cold One Knights, and it looks like Black Ark Corsair handbows, Dark Shards, and yeah, looks like Supreme Sorceress, Lord Beast. So a lot of mobility, a lot of missiles. We're definitely going to be trying to kite Nurgle here. Makes sense from Wicked's perspective. Nurgle coming in hot with some anti-kite tools. They do have some mobility in these plague drones. We've also got some Furies and some dogs. You see Tangling with Dark Riders out there. Got some Nurglings and a line of Forsaken. Again, good speed here to try and get out in space and not get kited too much. Yeah, they specifically, do they have the speed to run down Corsairs? That is an important interaction here. They do. They have 6 more speed than Corsairs, so no miss block chance, a little bit lower HP than regular infantry, although being Nurgle does give them additional HP benefit over that. But yeah, that Dark Rider going to ride off into the sunset, try and lead some of those Nurgle mobility units astray. The Nurgle Sorcerer Lord here. Try and bait some of these crossbows, Dark Shards, and waste some of their ammunition. Saw that little Doom Bolt fall there. Didn't even kill a single model of the Plague Drones, but did some good damage initially. Yeah, the Fury's also just going to rush straight up the pipe. Wicked actually just gives a mass volley, which is going to do an insane amount of damage and actually do a decent job of neutering the Furies before they can really get in contact here. Also get an early Cold One Knight. They're going to get Fate of Yuna nuked and in revenge try and hit that Sorcerer Lord, but then not wanting to stay too long into combat, pull back a little bit here. Yeah, what was that? Plague Breath there, landing, and Wicked's Kite is already underway, having to pull back some of those Dark Shards, focus in the center here, trying to get some damage on these Forsaken. The Cold One Knights charging in. One suffered that Fate of Yuna, is going to be routed off immediately, but the other one should fare a little bit better here, especially fighting against these non-AP Nurglings. Forsaken have better weapon damage and can just cut through, but Plague Drones also have enough speed to come in and land here on Dark Shards. But other Dark Shards, of course, can continue shooting and retreating, firing their multi-shot crossbows, and it's a feast of targets for them to shoot at. So we're going to pop those Plague Drones here, and yeah, like these Dark Shards, they get routed off, take some damage, but then they're going to come back and could keep contributing, right? So it's definitely going to be an interesting kite situation here, not to mention the Corsairs with their speed. They can shoot 360 as well, so they kind of provide some covering fire as these other units get hit, route, and then come back. But one Plague Drone already down, another Plague Drone suffering pretty badly. Dark Riders coming through to try and act as a blocking detachment. Get into combat here. The Plague Drones still have a lot of armor, so that 40 charge bonus and a rear charge, Dark Riders will actually be pretty effective at helping out there. Cold One Knights struggling to get away from the Furies and the Dogs. It's actually pretty ideal, considering both those units count as infantry size. They're not going to be subject to the anti-large bonus of the Cold One Knights. Now over here, yeah, Corsairs, again, getting caught by the Forsaken, kind of to be expected. Forsaken are fast enough. This is, not unheard of, but with help and with their own missiles, they're able to kind of wear down the Forsaken over time. Big power spike, too, you have to keep in mind from Murderous Prowess, is that it straight up buffs missile damage. Might not seem like much, especially on the Corsair handbows, where it only gives them 1, but 3 extra AP specifically on the Dark Shards is quite good, especially when you have so many unit models taking advantage of it. Very high volume of fire means that you get a significant bump from that. That being said, we do have some Dark Elf units once again going on a saga, just leading these units astray, trying to get Nurgle all separated, which they definitely have done a good job of doing so. We've got 2 Forsaken way out in space here, completely isolated. Gonna get charged down by Cold One Knights. And the Dark Shards also feasting there in distance. One of the most beautiful cinematic maps with this sunset skybox right now. Eviscerate them indeed. Yeah, you can see the Blackheart Corsair handbills a little bit overstacked right here. They're going to have some line of sight issues. Same thing with these Dark Shards, but still getting some shots into this engagement. The Cold One Knights do eventually get taken down by the Forsaken, and the Sorcerer Lord's been able to heal himself. Yeah, just through his item there, that Crown of Everlasting Conquest. So, I mean, it is Conquest, and he wants it to be everlasting, I would imagine. Let's actually check in on that. Yeah, it looks like Nurgle has captured the objective. He's well on his way accruing points, while both players are just focused on fighting the battle. So again, we'll check back on that later when it matters, or if it ends up mattering. A little Spirit Leech there. I didn't realize the Supreme Sorceress for the Dark Elves is also on foot. And this guy's on his Raw Beast, both of which are interesting choices. The Raw Beast, of course, gives good AP damage, great speed, ass. Whereas being on foot has some benefits. Actually means it's that she's going to be harder to hit in some circumstances, but has a lot less HP. Only 10 armor on the foot for the Supreme Sorceress is a risky business. But anyway, yeah. Nurglings here continuing to pursue. The Doomfire Warlocks are surviving. They're alive still. How much value have they got? They're pretty much paid for themselves, which is nice to see. They're also forcing the Nurglings into demonic instability here, just through their positioning on their flank. Now, ooh, yeah. Nurgle Lord is going to try and snipe the Supreme Sorceress once again. Slow. The Doomfire Warlock is going to get in and help support. Get their little flash of flames. Spirit Leech on the Supreme Sorceress is eventually going to do her in. Although I'd imagine the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord's probably going to get heal capped also, and he's got some tough units yet to fight. Well, maybe. Are there any Cold One Knights left? There are a handful here. If they can survive this engagement with these Plague Drones, they would definitely be a great match. Taking down yeah, you can see his healing cap just barely popped up visibly there, so it's going to be a close one for sure. Meanwhile, the Blackheart Corsair handbows continuing to kite and run. Got this unit of Dark Rider shields over chasing some Poison Warhounds there into the distance, but it's probably fine. They'll come back when they're needed. And the Plague Drones go down. The Cold One Knights suddenly are free to switch targets. You can see the Dark Shards. Supreme Sorceress just getting bullied by the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord there. Dark Shards getting a few hits, though, in the meantime. Definitely will be getting a few plinks here and there. Supreme Sorceress down to about 100 HP, but Cold One Knights charge in. And this is going to be good for them. Finally, they'll get an engagement where they can shine. I mean, not that they haven't been shining, but yeah, haven't paid for themselves. So here they get a good surround, get some good hits on the Sorcerer Lord. We'll keep his health bar up as we survey the rest of the battlefield here. And you can see some chunks of damage coming off. That Dark Rider did come back and is now going to go capture the objective, as we're looking at a situation where it actually will come into play, rather. It will matter, I should say. Yeah, the Corsair handbows, they're going to need to get over there and probably capture it themselves, because Dark Riders will start to capture the process, but they don't have a lot of capture weight, especially given how injured they are. You know, they've taken so much damage as a unit that they really don't have the cap weight they need. But Dark Shards here, turning to the absolute dual file Dread Column formation, so that they can quickly fire away and shatter those Forsaken. Got another Forsaken to shatter here. Meanwhile, the Corsair handbows are all chasing the Sorcerer Lord. He's got the Filth Mace, which has been getting some clutch terror routes here. Another Spirit Leech there to finish off those Cold One Knights. And the Sorcerer Lord sees that the objective is being taken, and his best chance for victory at this point is to hold on for the win. He is close enough at this point that he potentially could, but the Sorcerer Lord's going to have a hard time grinding through this much Corsairs. There's so many unit models. What do we got? Like 400 Corsairs still? 300? Something like that. Yeah, plus the Dark Shards still have quite a bit of ammunition left as well, so it's going to be a dangerous situation for him in the late game. He does come in and manage to chase off those Dark Riders and stops the cap, at least momentarily. Then he's going to kind of chill here. Small thing, but the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord also should just stand still. I mean, I know he's trying to not get hit by the crossbow bolts right now, but honestly, the Dark Shards aren't going to, or the Dark Shards are the dangerous ones, right? Corsair handbows won't really do anything, and you want to try and recover as much vigor as possible. And that's a big one here that will also come into play, is the vigor situation. Again, this is a pretty critical error here, in my opinion. Sorcerer Lord needed to stay on the objective to at least delay the capture as long as possible. It's close enough here that it might not have ended up mattering, but right now Wicked's got plenty of cap weight here to very quickly seize this objective. He's only got a handful of seconds left to do so, but given the Sorcerer Lords out here trying to kill the Dark Shards, which again, understandable, you know, they're probably the most dangerous unit directly to the Sorcerer Lord's health, right? But losing that capture point is going to be the dagger. He got to 572, only needed like 30 more seconds there. Would the Nurgle Sorcerer Lord fighting on the objective have made the difference? Probably not. I don't know. That's a lot of capture weight. Maybe. I'm not a capture weight expert by any means. Maybe some of you more scientifically minded folks out there could do some testing, but I don't think it would have made the difference in him being able to maintain the objective. But regardless, he's going to do his best to cycle charge whatever units he can here. Kills the last of the Dark Shards. And then Wicked's just going to line up his Corsairs right on the objective and rest them, which again, super important. If you note here that these guys, this one's already just tired. They're pretty well on their way back to being fresh. Melee attack is getting back to where it is. Full armor again. Whereas this guy, he's exhausted and is going to be. There's no chance for him to recover. And of course, yeah. I mean, there is a chance to recover. Technically, if the Nurgle player wanted to, that he could just go sit here in the trees, recover his vigor, and then both players could charge in for a fresh late game engagement. But rather than waste our time, he chooses to throw in the towel. And appreciate that. It was over for him, unfortunately. Despite it not technically being over. But yeah, Conquest ends up actually mattering there in the end. And what it allows Wicked to do is just set up on a position and not have to, worry about breaking some attacking rule if he's not chasing a mobile unit that's faster than him, or, anyway, the whole attacking rule thing can just be avoided to a large degree, right? And like, I've seen some consternation and some worry about specifically that Conquest could lead to like more cheese, right? If people feel incentivized to cheese, but I think the timer's in place right now where you really can't do too many like really degenerate cheesy strategies. And I mean, Kite is the way some matchups kind of go anyway right now, so like it seems probably fine. I don't know. If you guys have some really degenerate Conquest games, feel free to send them to me. I just haven't seen that many. Like, I've seen the worry about it, but I haven't actually seen games displaying that too much. I'm sure there's been one or two here or there, but by and large, the majority of the replays I get sent, that I see, I fight myself, especially Conquest, it seems to have a lot less cheese than even in, like, land battle tournaments at times. You can, especially if you're the rules adjudicator, I've definitely been in a position before where I've had to make tough calls. People didn't like me for it. I've even known people that have had death threats over, rules calls, which is insane. I mean, it's the world we live in, but it's just to say, if we have an impartial system that takes the human element of rules adjudication out of it as much as possible, it removes any possibility of bias, right? Or any accusations of bias, the appearance of bias, even if it doesn't exist. Anyway, all that to say, it's definitely a big benefit here, and ends up sort of helping Wicked to victory, although it almost turns against him. He does manage to get the capture just in time to stabilize, and Geefy here not wanting to draw it out too much longer, just throws in the towel respectfully. So Corsair handbows, definitely the carry here. They all get some really nice value. Not to mention, of course, the mobility contributes. Some Cold One Knights pay for themselves, as does Doomfire Warlock, which is nice to see. On the Nurgle side here, yeah, Sorcerer Lord definitely going to get quite a bit of value from his magics. I'm surprised more of the mobility units didn't get more value. I'm looking through things here, and I'm like, Man, the Nurgle had a pretty good chance to win, but, like, somehow the Sorcerer Lord is the only thing that got, like, decent value. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.